Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Jeremy and JP. We're out on Nonsuch Island for the first time in a couple of weeks, really. We've just had an unbroken spell of just horrendous weather for the most part. I mean, we had two hurricane near misses in September. One of which was a Category 4. It passed 100 miles away, and we still got wind gusts of up to 116 miles an hour on Bermuda. You can look back. We're actually now at the B colony, the B Cahow colony, which is an area we haven't filmed a lot at before. If you look back across, you can see sort of the surface cam pole over at the A colony, about 150 meters away. And then you can see Cahow Cove, which was the beach was completely swept out during Hurricane Fiona on September 23rd. And 2 months later, the sand is finally starting to return, and we're starting to get a beach there. As it was right after the hurricane, there was 15 feet depth of water right up against the cliff face there. That's how much sand was transported by the 25 plus foot waves during Hurricane Fiona coming in. Now for the last 2 weeks, we're in mid-November now. For October was a very windy month, and we spent much of it repairing damage on the smaller outer islands from Hurricane Fiona, particularly on Green Island, off the south side of Nonsuch. And now we're in the middle of November, and the last 2 weeks we've had strong to gale force winds as Tropical Storm and then Hurricane Nicole passed by. It formed southeast of Bermuda, passed by to the south and then southwest, and went on to hit the northern Bahamas and really hit a hammer blow as it developed into a hurricane along the eastern coast of Florida. Billions of dollars of damage there. So it's been a very windy, rough 2 months, and I've only been able to get a handful of checks in. So this is only the second check since the Cahows have been returning that I've made to the B colony complex. The A colony is where I moved Cahow chicks from 2004 to 2008. So that has about a 5-year head start on this colony. In this colony, I moved Cahow chicks from the 4 original islands between 2013 and 2017. And we moved about 70 chicks, about 65, 67 of them fledged successfully. And we have a nice nucleus of birds returning, and we've got, I think we're up to 6 or 7 actually active nest burrows already in this particular colony. And so we're well on our way here, and we're starting to attract non-translocated birds. To my surprise, last year, for the first time ever on Nonsuch Island, I started to see signs that Cahows had basically commandeered a burrow, sand burrow of one of the native red land crabs, which are quite large crabs. They can get up to 6 inches across, the claws and such. They're a terrestrial crab. They tend to dig burrows, particularly under thickets of coastal vegetation like the native buttonwood plants here, and dig in. But Cahows obviously saw this as a starter home, and they started digging it out. They didn't produce an egg or a chick, but this year they've really been enlarging it, and you can just see there's a large burrow, there's a huge pile of soil and sand that they've kicked out from it, and they've been collecting nest material. You can see grass and bits of vegetation they've been collecting. There's a nice patch of native West Indian grass here, and you can see where the soil's been kicked out of the entrance by the birds, over the vegetation, the leaves, and all the surrounding vegetation, and that's very typical for a pair of Cahows digging out their own burrow. Now, I've also seen another large entrance hole about 10 feet away. What I don't know yet is if that's a completely separate second natural nest burrow, or if that's just another entrance into this particular nest burrow. It's obviously been burrowed out under the roots of the buttonwood coastal shrub here, and that's what makes the roof, to enable the burrow to survive without you know, collapsing in during high rainfall. It's very sandy soil. This is the disadvantage of a natural burrow. They don't tend to last very long because the sandy soil, if you have really heavy rains like we have been having, last month we had nearly a foot of rainfall after 5 months of drought. So the weather, the climate worldwide is well and truly going nuts right now, you know, for obvious reasons. And you know, that's the problem. These burrows, the birds can take 2 or 3 years to dig them out, working together, and then they only last for a couple of years, and then heavy rainfall just collapses them again. Now, and that's why I go through the extra effort, considerable extra effort, of constructing either concrete, artificial nest burrows for them, or we have these prefab plastic ones that fit together in pieces. They're much easier to install, but the birds like them much less, and it takes about 3 years where they lose that new plastic smell. The birds have a very keen sense of smell. They don't like that plastic smell at all. So I've noticed that they have to be in the ground for at least 3 years before the birds will even start looking at them. So there are disadvantages to the plastic ones. The concrete ones are tried and true, and they should last 50 to 100 years. So this is exciting. If all goes well, it's very likely these birds will produce their first egg and hopefully their first chick in the new year. So we'll go and check some of the other nest burrows now. Definitely do some cutting back here. Okay, so now we're in Colony B. There are the artificial nest burrows all around us, and I'm just going to check them methodically from one end of the colony to the other. Oh, hello. It looks like we may have the first prospecting into this burrow. Has never been occupied before, and I see nest material prints. It looks like some burrowing, or it could be coming from the number 8 burrow, which has been established for about 3 or 4 years and is actually a very successful pair. So I'm going to check this first. I have to think now. That is 8, 9, so that's number 10. Number 10 burrow. All right, so we will see. It's possible it's just been kicked in out there from the entrance of D8, so I'll just do a very quick check. No, it looks like, yeah, there has been activity in here. There's no birds right now, but they've definitely been digging in here, and they've brought in some leaves and other nest material. So that's new prospecting. That's another new nest. That would make it the, I believe, the 9th active nest burrow, if I can confirm there is a bird or a pair that's expressed interest in this now. I always try and take rocks and stuff that get, turned up by the burrowing activities of the bird or by land crabs, because a sharp rock like this can actually be all it takes to puncture an egg and cause nest failure during the nearly 2-month period. It's about 53 days where the birds are incubating the egg. So that is a very exciting development, indeed. So what I have to do, let me come back here. I'll go to number 8 next. I just want to get my notebook out. Okay. So number 8 is plainly back. You can see where they've been digging out stuff and pulling in grass and stuff, clipping grass to pull it in. There's a dropping there, excreta. So yeah, this is actually a very successful pair. I think they've been nesting now for 4 years. They're among the first ones to return, and in 4 years they've already produced 3 chicks successfully. So that's very unusually healthy and heavy chicks as well. So very nice. Can't ask for more than that. Okay, so let's see. Monday, 14th of November. Yeah, yesterday, 13th of November, was my birthday, so I got 1 year younger yesterday. So I wish, but it's always a nice thought. Okay, let's see. So, Nonsuch, Ireland. And it's B colony. So first of all, B10 is new prospecting activity. So that's what we call it when birds aren't really nesting in it yet, but usually a male that's just returned for the first time after spending 3 or 4 years out at sea will come back, start to look for a potential nest site, preferably empty, because if they try to occupy a nest that's already occupied, that can lead to quite severe fights and stuff, which we know rarely can actually result in serious injury to the birds. The bird, there's that very powerful, short but powerful hooked bill can inflict quite nasty wounds on each other. They can certainly inflict it on my fingers. Okay, so this is B8, and this is obviously returned. So it's got excreta, nest material collected, and soil dug out of entrance. And they're just doing that. They're basically cleaning up the house, getting ready to welcome a new baby Cahow into the world. All right, let's see if anybody's home. No. It's a nice nest, very good nest, but nobody. And I can actually smell that musky, it's like a musky smell. Like it reminds me a little bit of the old Jovan musk oil that was a very preferred. Like cologne for guys and aftershave lotion and stuff like that. Jovan musk. If anybody's around my age, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Jovan. Discover its power.
And so, yeah, the birds have been in it. They've made a nice nest of grass. They love this. This is a native West Indian grass, which is actually the preferred nesting material of choice. It's like straw almost, when it dries, and it's supposed to have some sort of anti-insecticidal properties. It actually helps to discourage mites and various bugs and parasites and stuff that could otherwise occupy the nest, and can be a serious problem in some parts of the world. Luckily not in Bermuda. Luckily there are very few nest parasites or exoparasites that seem to affect the Cahows here. So, yeah, I suspect because today and yesterday were fairly calm, that, we're not going to find many birds in the nest. But they're obviously well into their nest building. This nest is essentially finished and ready ready to lay an egg into it, which of course they won't do for another month and a half. They'll generally continue nest building, mating, courtship, defending the nest for the rest of this month, the next 2 or 3 weeks. In December, the males and females both go out to sea and feed heavily, the female to develop that single large egg, which is like 1/5 or 2 1/4 of her body mass. And the male just fattens up because he's the one that does the first long, can be anywhere from 10 days to 3 weeks incubation shift. The males tend to spend much more time incubating. They do about 2/3 of egg incubation, and it gives the female a break after producing this humongous egg. Okay, so the next one I'm going to check is B9, which is right over here. Let's see. Wow, they're creating quite a hill at the entrance. This is interesting. This is what you start to see. There's a couple of nests like this at the A site too. It's what's called a Cahow hill, and it's just over years of kicking. You know, there's a lot of soil that gets washed in, or soil and pebbles that get carried in by land crabs when the birds aren't here. And so every year when they come in, they kick out all of that loose material to make a clean run into the long entrance tunnel. And so it tends to pile up at the entrance because it's enriched with nutrients from their droppings. It's a great place for new grass and stuff to start growing in. And so you end up with this like 50 pounds of soil that's been excavated out over the last 3 or 4 years, piled up right in front of the entrance. And actually it's a really good wind deflector that prevents wind from blowing right in during gales and hurricanes. And you can see we're right on the cliff edge here. So I'm going to take a look. There's a dropping on top of the nest lid too. That's Cahow for sure. It's greenish. So let's see. Same thing. Yep. No birds, but molted feathers. And at the beginnings of a nest, it's a little sparse still. So they've just started. But yeah, there's a lot of molted feathers. Now some birds do that. Some Cahows, they actually, as they start to molt like a brood patch, they actually use these molted feathers mainly from their stomach and breast area to line the nest with. So, you know, most pairs don't use feathers at all, but about 1/3 of them do. And it seems to be individual preference, or perhaps it's just if the birds happen to be molting at that time, then they'll incorporate those feathers into a nice soft liner. So again, no birds. I think it's just going to be one of those days we'll be lucky to find a bird. They've come in, done their stuff, and they've headed out to sea to feed for a bit. And what they're waiting for is, we had a full moon. We actually had a lunar eclipse last week. Very bright period. They don't particularly like to do much courtship then. And as we go further into this week, the moon will be going towards the new moon. It'll be getting darker and darker, and that's what they love. They like, you know, moderate to strong winds and dark nights. If there's bright moonlight or light winds, then they're just not going to do it, you know. As above. Yeah, sparse nests. It's mostly grass with molted feathers. With MF. Okay. Yeah, so everybody's returned, but it's just that basically, you know, they've all gone back out to sea to feed again, so they can come back and go through more courtship and mating and nest building. Now, this is another exciting one. This is B7. This is a nest that was first prospected last year, and you can see now they're really serious. They're going to nest, I think, for the first time. So this is a brand new pair. I've already recaptured the 2 birds. Both of them are birds that were translocated around 2015-16 and have returned. And you can just see there's a huge amount of soil. And this happened last night, because see, look, there's still loose soil all over, you know, kicked way out in front, where they've just been kicking all that loose material. I like to help them out by taking out any larger rocks, because it's hard for them to kick these rocks distance away. And there are some pretty big ones in there. You know, like, look at that, you know. That's what they have to remove, you know. It's all part of house remodeling, getting ready for baby, getting the nursery ready, more or less. It's really not, there's more similarities than differences between these creatures. Yeah, but it's just help them out a little bit. I'm like the home help guy that comes in after a natural disaster and helps homeowners clean up and get ready for occupancy again, I guess. Now we'll see. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, it's all remodeling. Oh, okay. There was a bird in there. There is a bird, but he's just gone to where I can't reach him. So he's right in about here now. So I'm going to see if I can persuade him to move up. Yeah, because I'm very interested in these new birds, you know, finding out who they are. I don't think I'm going to be able to, but because it's got quite a... Come on, just gently try to persuade it to go back a bit. Come on. Yeah. He's fighting with the end of the stick. Yeah, he actually bit the end off. Okay, I don't like to rough them up too much because obviously you don't want to put them off the nest, but I really dearly would like to see who it is. No, there's no way. When they don't want to be got, they're very good at hiding. I'm not going to disturb them anymore. But at least I know there's at least one bird in there, which is wonderful. So yeah, that bodes really well for the new year when they lay. I think we're going to go in 1 year from 5 or 6 pairs up to possibly about 8 or 9 pairs, because there's so many new pairs that are either prospecting or getting ready to go. So it's B7, 1 bird in nest, entrance tunnel. Cannot reach. And there's mulched feathers in there. There's much soil dug out of nest entrance. Okay, so it's looking good. We're not getting the birds in hand that I was hoping to, but there's lots of very encouraging activity happening, and that's the main thing that I'm looking for right now. So we'll go for the next few ones. Jeez. Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is number 1, and on first glance it doesn't look like there's much happening, but there's a pair in here, and that's the call. So that's great. I'll be able to confirm both of them. You can see sort of the droppings. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 droppings out in front. So okay, so this is B1. Usually there's a pair together. It's not 100% foolproof, but usually when there's that sort of antiphonal calling, it indicates there's a pair together. But I just remembered this is a noisy pair, both birds, and sometimes it makes it if there's just one, but I'll see. Hopefully I'll be able to get at least one of them out. Hey, yep, there is a pair. Okay. Just lovely birds. You know, they're in wonderful condition. Looks like they've come in. They haven't been in the nest much this time, so I'm going to get him done first. Then the other bird. I think the other bird's gone into the entrance, unfortunately. Yeah. It's funny. There's actually some old duct tape still stuck. Yeah, I'm going to have to try and get that one. What I'll do is I'll do the measurement first. He's obviously in the tunnel, the other one. So if I can, I'll try and persuade it to go into that, but I'm going to... And what I'm really looking for is their band number, so I know exactly who is nesting with who and what nest this year, but I'll also weigh them just to see what body condition it's in. This bird feels pretty light, so I suspect this is probably the female. Okay, so first I will weigh. Yeah, it's quite a light bird. 314, so that'll be 294. Oh, wait a second, no. 294, 299. Sorry, this is a lighter bag. 299. Okay. Bird number 1, 299 grams. And just take a quick look at your band number. And it's got one of the larger C bands, C1037. Yeah, that's the female. C1037. C1037. Female. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just put her in there, so hopefully she can't escape, and then I am going to try and tease the second bird up into that nest chamber. It's fair to say this is a very short one, and B, this doesn't always work, so I'm going to use a slightly longer one. Things don't always want to cooperate. Now the main thing is you want to persuade them to move along, but you don't want to injure the bird or anything like that. It's just a persuader. So I'm not poking the bird, I'm just getting it close enough to the bird that wants to move away from it. If I feel any sign the bird is in contact, I'll just back off a bit. There we go. Okay. Hopefully. Doesn't always work. Sometimes the birds just are stubborn and they'll just hang on. Yep, it did work in this case. It usually works. Yeah, and this is the male. I can tell because it's got a more massive bill. It's a bit bigger, a bit heavier feeling. So this is the guy. Hi. Yeah, you know me. I raised you from a chick. They should. Both of these were translocated birds, so yeah, I know the whole life history, where they came from, and what year, and what weight they were through their whole development. So yeah, these guys, I guess you could say I'm their foster daddy, more or less, because I raised them the last third of their fledgling period. You know, that's when we move them. Yeah, he is a bit heavier. Not a ton heavier, but a little bit. So 322. So 322 grams. So let's see, bird number 2. 322. And the band number, it's okay. Yeah, they're not particularly bothered because they've gone through this except when they were out at sea, every year of life. Yeah, C0894. C0894. Yeah, and this is the male. C0894. This is actually a this pair has real promise. It's a fairly new pair. They only started nesting 3 years ago. They produced their first egg 2 years ago. It hatched and they fledged that chick. And then earlier this year, they also fledged their second chick. So in 3 years so far, they've produced 2 chicks. And so all indications are this is going to be a good pair. Okay, so I'm going to put the female back in first. Then followed by the male, because, you know, obviously they're a little bit, you know, a little bit pumped up from being pulled out of the nest. And so I just find, you know, sometimes if the male's in first and then the female comes, he'll snap at her before he realizes it's his mate. So I always like to do everything possible to make sure nothing like that happens. So you can see it's a lovely bird, nice and clean. Looks like she just went in, and whoop, there she goes. Okay, and then followed by her mate. Okay, I am looking for signs of tags, GLS tags, because there still are a few of them out there. There's about, I think, either 6 or 7 of them still that we kept on for a second year because, you know, their memory storage capability, their archival storage can do that. So we're going to hopefully retrieve a few of them with 2 straight years of data on them. Okay, so next is B2, which is this one right here. B3 hasn't been occupied yet, but you see what's happened. Leaves have been blown in front by a strong wind, so I'm just going to open it up so any prospecting bird hopefully can see it. But you can see this, there's been some digging of soil and stuff outside of the entrance. So there's likely been somebody here. Now this pair has also been nesting for 4 years, I believe, and they haven't been successful until this year. Earlier this year, they produced their first chick, which was a lovely, healthy one too. So, okay, so let's see, B2. Soil dug out. Now let's see if there's anybody home. Yep, there's a pair. It's okay. It's okay. It's actually a pair together. So I'm going to quickly put the first one in, and that's been happening with every pair today. If I'm not fast enough, the second bird will just escape. So what I'm going to do, I think the same sort of thing. I'm going to just take a look at this bird first, though, I think, before I try to yank the other one out. Oops, and it's unfortunately done a pooper in the bag, so I'm going to move it to another bag so it doesn't get too badly soiled up. Yeah, they do that sometimes when they've just returned. They've still got a fairly full stomach. And the main thing is, you know, you don't want their plumage to get soiled up, because then they have to spend extra time preening all the mess off and everything. And you know, the work I do, I try, first of all, above all else, first do no harm. You know, don't do anything to really impact. Okay, so this one is 333, so minus the weight of the bag, 313 grams. Okay, he just wants to get away from the light. $313, and let's take a look at the band number. Trying to remember the band number for E0364. I believe that's the female. E0364. Let me just check the other leg. Nope, no sign of a tag. E0364. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do now is restrain this one and then go through the same process. What I'm going to do, I think, is just put this bird in here and just zip it up so that it's just it can't really go anywhere or escape. Okay, now where did I put that persuader stick? All right, so again, the persuader sticks work pretty good on the burrows with shorter entrance tunnels, but some of the entrance tunnels, because of where they are or whatever, they have to be longer, like particularly where there's no vegetation. When they're under vegetation, they can be shorter, but some of them can be up to almost 12 feet long. Those are the ones that take 800 plus pounds of concrete to do. This one probably about 600, 650 pounds. And yeah, the long ones, you just can't reach it at all. So, okay, there we go. On the shorter ones, it works almost every time. Oh, and this one has a tag on it. Fantastic. Okay, that's what I was looking for. So I think, I'm just wondering, should I take it off now or should I wait until the new year? I think I'm going to actually wait until the new year. This has been on for about a year and 9 months already. So they're usually put on around about February. Late February, early March, so I think I'm going to let it go to get 2 full years, 24 months of data. At least I know which bird has it. I can confirm that now. And this is a relatively easy nest to check. But that's wonderful. You can see the tag is still in great shape, no problem. I think this is the male bird. I'm pretty sure. Almost. And he feels a little bit heavier. Yeah. 337, so 317. Yeah, it's probably been in there for a while because the tag is quite dirty. Oh no, wait a second. No, that's right, this is a light bag. The other one was a heavier one. So 17, so 323. And this is one of my older bags, and so it's getting a little holy now. And that's fine because it restrains him, but he can breathe easy, and it actually has relaxed a bit more now. Okay, so I'm going to take a closer look at the tag. I can't get the tag number because the number is sort of right up against the thing, but you can see it's in great shape, perfect shape actually, and it's still rotating. You can see the ow. He actually bit me right through the back. Yeah, you can see it's not caused any abrasion to the leg whatsoever. It's just these are actually they're actually printed out by a computer and everything. I forget what they call it, but yeah, these are 3D printed the actual thing, that sleeve that fits around the leg of the bird. It's a very soft, pliable plastic which doesn't cause abrasion. It's not hard or it doesn't get brittle with age. So it's and the whole thing, the sleeve and the tag, only weigh about 3.3 grams, which is like half the weight of the ones I used the generation before. So yeah, so it's got a tag attached on the right leg. So yeah, that's all I really need to know. All right, yeah, it's a nice beginning nest. It's got a couple of sharp rocks I'll take out, but got some molted feathers in there, so they've been busy already. And first blood, he's already drawn blood on me. And God, I don't blame you. But that's just a beginning nest. He'll collect, they'll collect much more, make a much more substantial nest. But if memory serves, this is one of the pairs that they don't make particularly good nests. So I will have to give them a course in nest building by adding some grass and such to the nest. Okay, so I'm going to put his mate in first. This is when you need to be ambidextrous with both birds. So I'm going to put this one in first. Okay, there we go. Zip. And give it like about 30 seconds for the dust to settle. Take out some of these big grape seed heads. They're a little prickly sometimes. They stick to the down of the chicks. The adults are fine. And okay, the second one. Okay, nope, I'm not going to give you another opportunity to bite me. Fantastic. So, no, that's very good. So things are looking good. There's still 2 additional nests. I don't think we're going to have time, though, really, to check them today, but I'll check them on my next visit to Nonsuch, probably tomorrow. But yeah, things look good. 2 pairs together. 3 new pairs really setting up shop in this new colony. And together, that will make, for the 2022 season, the numbers increased from 27 to 32 pairs in 1 year. And this year, between both the A and B colony, it looks like we've got about 6 or 7 new pairs between the two. So we're going to go up into the high 30s, and this already is the second largest subpopulation of Cahows. Okay, so yeah, this is the first time we've been able to make one of these because of the horrendous weather conditions. So we'll be doing further updates in the days to come. But yeah, everything looks really good. The B colony is doing well. The A colony is superb. The only problem there is I need to make more nests during December when the birds are out to sea. So yeah, we'll hopefully bring some of that to you in the coming weeks. So from Jeremy and JP out on Nonsuch Island, B Cahow nesting colony. Everybody have a great day on the 14th of November 2022, and all the best, everyone. Good. Excellente.